Alright, guys, back again. So let's talk about all 31 new horror movies I watched in October. Now, I watch horror all year round. I watch a lot of franchises over and over again. I always watch horror in some way, shape, or form throughout the year, but October I think is just special. Like I want to watch 31 new ones. Like I couldn't watch one every day because I was busy with some stuff, but I watched 31 new movies in total in October. And I, in the past year, and I think the year before that, I tried to do 31 days of horror, where like I'd watch a horror movie every day and record it every day. But then I realized it's hard to do that, so I'm just gonna recap and talk about all of them. So let's get started with my first movie that I watched, which was Infinity Pool on Hulu, starring Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth. And this one is about a couple who go on this vacation and they've got this weird stuff start happening. Like it's just I really don't want to say anything about the plot, to be honest, with Infinity Pool. It is directed by Brandon Cronenberg, who also directed Possessor, which I liked a lot. And I think he directed something else. I think it was called Antiviral, which I have not seen. I'd want to see it, but Infinity Pool, I'm gonna say less about it than I really want to, because I don't want people to not know what the plot is. But this movie is really strange and bizarre and messed up, and it's great to see Mia Goth in another messed up horror movie. She's just great all around. I love seeing her in horror. She's definitely one of the horror queens right now. Alexander Skarsgård is really good in it as well, and he's an actor that I like and appreciate, but I just always forget how good he is in movies, and this one he does a good job too. Um, this movie's weird, it's strange, it's got elements in it that I won't say because I don't want to say what it is, but if you've seen it, definitely I feel like people enjoy it. I liked it. I didn't love it. It's not a movie that I'm going to watch again, but for just watching it as to say I've seen it, like this is a good one, and I did like it. I like Possessor more, but this one was good. And then number two, the movie I watched was Son, which is a Shudder movie, or it was on Shudder, starring Andy Matichak, who was in the last three Halloween movies, the new trilogy, and it is about a mom, her and her son, and her son has weird things going on. He starts getting sick. He starts acting weird. And again, like Infinity Pool, I'm not gonna say the plot of this because this one I think works when you don't know anything about it, and I didn't either. Um, I will say this: Andy Matichak did a good job, and I liked her a lot in the new Halloween trilogy. I haven't seen her in anything else besides that in this, and she does a good job in this one. Her character is different than those movies, and I enjoyed her a lot. I thought the son was good. I thought that the plot was good, but it's one of those movies where it's one of those movies where it's marketed like I looked at the poster art, and it's marketed like something that it's not, and that's fine. I like when movies do that, something you're surprised when you see the movie. But I thought this one was solid. I thought it was interesting. It's not the best, but it's good. I enjoyed it. I especially liked her in it. I thought that her and the kid did a great job. Um, and that's pretty much all I'll say about Son. And Son came out last year or the year before. Just hadn't had a chance to see it yet. Number three is called Snapshot. Now, Snapshot is also titled The Day After Halloween, which is a movie that the distributors and I guess producers changed the name to The Day After Halloween because this came out in 1978 or 1979, one of the two, and it is after the movie Halloween came out, so they called it The Day After Halloween and made a poster of a girl with her hand on her face and with a woman with scissor cuts, like cut out paper, like where it's a woman's body and like it's got cuts in it, like the pieces of paper are cut, and it is not like that poster at all. This movie is not that kind of movie. This movie is not even a horror movie until like the last 10 minutes. So this movie, I knew before I saw it that it was not a horror movie. I knew it was just called The Day After Halloween because obvious trying to get marketing in it, and then people saw it and were like, what? But I'd honestly say though, Snapshot I thought was kind of entertaining. Like it's not really a horror movie or thriller until the end, but like these characters were kind of interesting. There's a character named Angela who I thought was good. I thought that it had some good music to it. It had that 70s vibe that I thought kind of was just interesting and kept me invested in it. Funny enough, even though it's not a great movie, the ending is okay. It's like she's getting a stalker, this character, like towards the end of the movie, but like it's good. Like I didn't mind Snapshot. Um, like I said, nothing to do with Halloween at all. But I knew that before going into it. But yeah. And then number 4 was Stitches. Now Stitches came out in might have been 2012 is what I'm guessing. I might be completely wrong. It might be way earlier than that. That's the date that came to mind. Stitches is about a guy in a clown outfit who is a killer clown, and I honestly didn't love this one. I thought there are other killer clown movies that I like way more than this. I thought that this one had one good kill in it where this guy gets air into his head and his head blows up like a balloon and he explodes. I thought that was good. But I honestly thought the movie was pretty forgettable. And I might need to see it again because I've heard people go, "Man, this movie's great," and I just didn't think that, unfortunately. So maybe I'll watch it again one day. But as of now, I did not really like this one. It just wasn't that interesting. Number 5 is another movie similar to Stitches that I'm going to forget called Death Spa, and this was on Shudder, and it is about a death spa. It's about these people dying at a spa, and they are just getting electrocuted, getting cut up. By the end of the movie, there's this weird ass monster, and like that practical effect I will remember about this weird ass like melting monster thing at the end. But besides that, this one is pretty forgettable. Death Spa. I don't remember anything about it. I watched it earlier in October, so I really don't remember anything about it. Number 6 is Exorcist Believer, which I did a review on. Exorcist Believer, I don't want to say much about because I liked it. I thought it was good. Not great, but I thought it was good and solid. Not as bad as people say it is because the Halloween Ends haters are also saying that because it's David Gordon Green who directed it, but whatever. This movie's totally fine. I didn't hate it at all, Exorcist Believer. But I've reviewed that before, so let's get on to the next one. Totally Killer is number 7. And I think I did review that as well. And then number 8 is Pet Sematary Bloodlines, which I think I reviewed all 3 of these. But Totally Killer, real quick, thought it was fine. Kind of boring, though, towards, like, I felt like it was too long. I felt like Kiernan Shipka from Sabrina, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina was good, but her jokes about you can't do that in this time period is like, or it's not the same in the 80s as it is now. That joke kind of wore off towards the end. It was used a lot, and I thought it was totally solid, but it wasn't great, but it was okay. She was definitely one of the highlights, even though her lines are kind of annoying towards the end, just the same kind of joke repeated over and over again. Pet Sematary Bloodlines, number 8. Did not like this one. I don't remember a thing about it. I watched it, and it literally just is gone. Like, I did not care for this one, and I paid attention to it. I just did not care. Number 9 is Death Game, which is the original version of Knock Knock, which is that Eli Roth movie that starred Keanu Reeves and Ana de Armas as those 2 girls who seduce a man home alone and won't leave his house and then torture him. And this is the original version of that. And this one is not as good. It's got some okay performances, but it's really weird and over the top. It's got that 70s look to it, which I like, but I'd really prefer the remake. To be honest, just it's more interesting and more stupid and more fun, like the remake of this is. So Death Game is whatever. It's good, like it's not bad, but it's just I'd rather watch Knock Knock. Number 10 is Messiah of Evil, which is a Shudder movie I watched on Shudder, as well as Death Game. I watched that on Shudder too. Messiah of Evil is again another one where it's this girl who is getting stalked by this creepy presence and these creepy people who are like zombies. This one again had some cool visuals, but it was not anything I really will remember. Number 11 is Willard and number 12 is Ben, and those are both connected movies. So Willard is about a man who has a rat who controls other rats, which help him out with the horrible people in his life, and help him out. I mean, by like kill these people. This one was good, but again, like Death Game, I'd rather watch the remake of Willard than the original Willard. With the remake with Crispin Glover is way better. This one is good, but it's one of those movies where it doesn't show anything. It shows the rats sitting on top of people moving and they're screaming, and I honestly thought the CG in the remake benefited from this, using CG rats, because then you could have a lot of them in a crowd as opposed to just cutting to a person just getting rats walking on them and you think they're attacking you, but it's kind of more silly. Um, and that's kind of a taboo thing to say in terms of CG versus practical, because I usually like practical in these old movies, but like this one, the CG makes more sense with like a lot of rats than just showing a couple rats walking on somebody, as opposed to like showing the movement of rats like in the remake, which works way better. Um, Willard is okay. It's solid. It's kind of creepy, but I like the remake better. And Ben, which is number 12, is the sequel to Willard. I like this more than Willard, the original, because this one was more dumb. Like, it had a lot of scenes with this kid who befriends Willard. Um, and he becomes friends with him, and it's just a lot of silly scenes of him doing things with this rat. And I'm like, that's a little more entertaining and more memorable than the other one, or than the first Willard. So I thought they gave it a bonus, and also it had Michael Jackson sing the song "Ben" at the end, which I thought was hilarious. Um, Number 13 is The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which I really liked. Now this came out 2016, I think, starring Emile Hirsch and Brian Cox, and they're two coroners who who are taking care of this dead body, this Jane Doe. But then all this weird shit starts happening, and I really don't want to say much about the plot, but I thought this was really pretty well done in terms of being creepy and bizarre, and the imagery is cool. And I thought that they made a lot with a little with this idea of this dead body that's dead, but then they're like, what is all this supernatural weird shit happening to us like at the same time? I thought that worked. And this dead body is like an insane it just does all this damage, and I really like that. I think that's cool. Number 14 is Bug, which is a 70s horror. I watched a lot of 70s horror this last month. Bug, I really like. This is my cup of tea. So it is about killer bugs that come out from under the ground, and whenever they touch somebody, they burn them. Like, it's like a giant ass cockroach. Like, it burns people in the face, and it burns them up and destroys their skin. This one was fun. It reminded me of something like Arachnophobia, where like it's killer spiders. Like, I liked that a lot, and I thought that was entertaining. I thought, it's creepy because bugs can be creepy. They're so small, even though these are big bugs, but like they're creepy that they can hide and stuff, and then they just pop up and burn your face. Like, I thought that was hilarious. I enjoyed Bug. I thought that was entertaining. Then number 15, Jack's Back, which which I didn't really like that much. With this movie, it's like they're trying to be the Jack the Ripper thing, but in current time. And it's like really shady and weird in a way where it's just not really my cup of tea. I don't know. I just didn't think it was that great. It's got James Spader in it, which is cool, but he didn't really do much for me either. I thought this one was just kind of a bore, to be honest. Jack's Back. Like, it's not bad, but it's whatever. Number 16 is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which is one that has been talked about a lot in horror groups and in just groups of movies in general. It is about Winnie the Pooh and Piglet killing people, and it is a creation of Winnie the Pooh going to public domain. Disney does not fully own it now, so now horror movie companies that are really small like this can make movies like this and make a lot of money, because this movie is, you've never seen a Winnie the Pooh slasher. That's good in an idea. The execution in it is whatever. It's not bad. Like, I thought that it is fun for what it is, for how stupid it is. Like, I like these stupid slashers. And this one had some okay kills. It had some okay fun. It's not the best, but I mean, it was fun. I thought it was mediocre fun, I guess is the way to describe it. Like, but I can see why everybody thinks it's the worst thing ever. I get it, but like, I thought I had a little bit of fun with it. I can't wait for this company to make that Killer Bambi movie and Killer Peter Pan movie. That just sounds hilarious. More of these silly movies, please. Number 17 is one that I honestly am forgetting too, is Scars of Dracula, which is a Hammer horror starring Christopher Lee, but it's one of those Christopher Lee movies where he's barely in it, and it's these boring main characters, and then it doesn't really do much for me, unfortunately. Scars of Dracula, so that's all I can say about it. Number 18 is a pretty new release called Cobweb, which I watched on Shudder, I believe. Really good. So this one has, I forgot what her name is. She's in Cloverfield, the main actress, and the guy Anthony Starr, who was Homelander in The Boys. They were the parents of this kid, and there's like this creepy thing going on in the house. And I thought this, like, there's this creepy supernatural thing going on in the house. I thought that this movie did a good job of being sincerely creepy, honestly. I thought it was executed pretty well, and I think it's one of my better ones overall for this month of what I watched. The ending is good too, but I feel like it kind of loses its edge whenever you realize what the story is. Or what the big reveal is, if that makes sense. Number 19 is Fright. Fright is a 70s or is it 60s thriller movie where there's a babysitter and there's a guy who comes in and tries to, he keeps her at like he keeps her where he thinks he's his wife, and he's trying to take her with him. And this guy is just crazy, and this woman is like, this is like a teenage girl who doesn't know who this guy is, and she has to fight for her life and the kid's life to not get killed by this guy or taken by this guy who thinks that the woman is his wife. This was really good, really executed really well. So I definitely recommend Fright, from the 60s. And number 20 and 21 are Bloody Murder 1 and 2. Now, Bloody Murder 1 was horrible. The worst movie I watched out of the 31, no doubt. It is a slasher with no gore at all. It is a low-budget slasher where, like, there's nothing of note here. Nothing at all. It's called Bloody Murder and there's no gore. That's the biggest insult to me. Bloody Murder 2, Closing Camp, at least had some gore in it. It's slightly better. It's still bad. I don't recommend them at all. Number 22 is Obsession, which is a Brian De Palma movie. I really liked this one. This is a one where it's Cliff Robertson, and he has a wife and a kid who get killed by the mob. And then he goes to whatever place he goes to. Is it France? Or no, it's Italy, I think. And like he goes there and finds a woman who looks exactly like his wife, and he's like, "What gives? My wife's been dead." And then there's some weird like underlying themes of who this person is and why does this person look like my wife, kind of thing. And it's a very interesting thriller, and it definitely feels Brian De Palma with what they do with the execution, which I won't say here. But I thought Obsession was pretty solid, actually. I liked it. Then number 23 is Shredder, which is a slasher. Nothing of note here except for the opening kill, which somebody gets killed by barbed wire going sledding down. I thought that was good, but the rest of the movie was boring. Okay, gore. It has Scott Weinberg, is that his name? The dude who was Steve from Full House in it, which is the only thing of note I can remember besides the opening kill for Shredder. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Shredder. Nothing else interesting. Number 24 is Nightmares, which is a 80s anthology horror movie, which I kind of dug. I didn't like everything like most anthologies. Most anthology movies for me never are great because they're never all great or entertaining, if anything. This one had a couple cool ones. There was one with Emilio Estevez playing this video game where he gets trapped in the video game. I thought that was cool. There's one with this woman trying to get cigarettes and like she's trying to escape this guy. That was okay. There's one at the very end where it's like this giant animal in a room and it looks really bad with the effects now. I even looked at this poster for Nightmares and it said that it's a sleeper hit of the year, like whenever this came out in 1983 or whatever, and then it bombed. It didn't do well. But I thought it had a couple good anthology scenes in it, but it was not great. But it was definitely one of the better ones. Now, speaking of a really good one, number 25 is May, starring Angela Bettis and Anna Faris. Now, May is about a character named May who Angela Bettis plays, who is this weird, repressed girl who lives on her own, and she has this weird ass doll, and then all this weird stuff starts escalating where like she likes this guy, but she also likes Anna Faris, and Anna Faris and her are doing it, and like it's really, really weird, and the acting in it is very strange and off guard, but in a way where I really liked it. I really thought Anna Faris was great in this movie as well. I thought she was a highlight, even though the movie is great. But like Anna Faris, just in particular, her lines, like her performance in this movie, I thought is my favorite Anna Faris performance. And I love her in the scary movies, but this way that she talks in this movie just is interesting and mysterious, and I like it a lot. And Angela Bettis, this honestly felt like a better version of that Carrie 2002 TV remake, like in terms of her acting performance. Like I liked her a lot more in this, and she was kind of similar, really weird and out there character. I liked May a lot. That was really solid. The ending scene is really cool and creepy. So I really dug May. That's definitely one I'd recommend. Number 26, All Hallows Eve 2. Now, All Hallows Eve, I liked the first one. This one I did not like that much. It was another anthology, and I didn't care about much at all. And I honestly can't remember anything about the stories, really. There was one I thought that was okay, where this family, this mom and this kid, their stomachs turned into pumpkins because they were eating pumpkin seeds or something like that. That was kind of silly, but that was kind of fun. Number 27 is Five Nights at Freddy's, which I don't know anything about the source material, and I think I reviewed this. Maybe not. I can't remember. But this one was whatever. It was pretty boring. I don't know anything about the source material at all, and this didn't have that much of those animatronic characters. It was about Josh Hutchinson's character getting a job, doing this overnight thing, watching this Freddy's Pizza place, and that's where all the murders happen with the puppets or whatever, animatronics. And there was less of that, and it was just kind of a weird drama with some horror stuff in it, and it was not that interesting to me. The Blumhouse, like, I applaud Blumhouse for, like, they always do something marketing-wise. They do a great job with everything, but this one just is not a movie that I cared for. Number 28 is one that I actually enjoyed a lot, which was House on Sorority Row, which came out in 1983, maybe? I think it was 82, 83. Just a killer at a sorority house. And I've seen Sorority House Massacre, which I think I like less than this one. I don't remember it that well, but I have seen it. But this one, House on Sorority Row, I liked a lot more. And I want to see the remake, Sorority Row, which I have not seen, which has Carrie Fisher in it, funny enough. But this one had a really creepy villain in it at the end. I liked that. It had a really creepy killer. It had a cool costume for him. So I liked House on Sorority Row. I also liked the characters, and I also liked that one woman who sounded like Pee Wee Herman, the way she talked. That was funny. House on Sorority Row, I definitely recommend. Then number 29, I watched The Phantom of the Opera, which is the Hammer version. This one had some really good music, but I didn't really care much about anything else. That's all I could say. It stinks. The two Hammer movies I watched this month, I didn't really care for. Number 30 is Jack O, which came out in 1995, which I had never seen before. It was free on YouTube. Jack O is about a killer jack-o'-lantern that comes out and starts getting people, and also it's just a movie that makes no sense, where like it's just a lot of random weird kills. It has Linnea Quigley naked in it, which is always a pleasure to see. It's always great to see Linnea Quigley in these slashers, but this one, like I said, it's got some good gory moments, but I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've already kind of forgotten about it. Then number 31 is The Thing from Another World, which the reason why I watched this movie last is because The Thing from Another World was featured in Halloween. So I had started rewatching the Halloween movies after the 31 days. So that's why. The Thing from Another World is, for its time, a good movie, I think. I did like it. I think that it's nothing like the 1982 John Carpenter remake, because John Carpenter loves this movie, apparently, or has loved this movie. It's one of his favorite movies, I guess. I think I heard it in an audio commentary for Halloween. It's one of his favorites. That's why it's in Halloween. But this movie, for me personally, I didn't grow up with this movie. This is the first time I watched it. It is a black and white Um, Kind of romance, kind of mystery, kind of at the end monster movie. Like it's a movie of its time, and it's not a movie that I'm gonna make fun of or say I didn't think it was great. I thought it was okay. It's just not a movie that I personally grew up with, and it's got good ratings. People like it, and think it's a good movie, but it's just not a movie that I will watch again. Really, the monster is creepy looking. The story is it's just one of those slow burn movies where it's just these characters kind of talking and thinking that there's somebody there, but it's just one monster. It's not like the Thing remake where like it's taking over bodies. It's just one big monster that's like this like that like just destroys stuff and like it runs at him and they got a flamethrower at the end. That's it. But it's not anything like super special. I immediately prefer, or I completely prefer the remake than that because that's more up my alley with the gore and with the practical effects. This one is just a kind of like I said, movie from the is it 50s or 60s where you have these. It's of the time period of being scared of being taken over, and it works in essence in the movie, but it's just not a movie that I enjoy personally. So it's still a good movie, but it's not a movie that I'm gonna watch again. But I'm glad I did because, like I said, I want all this film knowledge. There's so many movies I want to see, and that was one that was been on my list for a long time. So I'm glad I got to watch that. Um, but with these 31 movies, I think it's good I did this way with the reviewing process because there's some movies like I talked about in this review that I could not say much about. Like there's some movies that I'm maybe like I can't say anything about this. This is boring, you know. Or there's some movies that I love, but like I feel like with the 31 days, this was the best way to say it as opposed to doing a single review like I did last year because there were some movies I was struggling to find something to talk about. But yeah, that's it. I really thought it was a good month of October. I think that I'm glad I watched all those. It's just a special time of the year that I want to watch all new movies, new horror movies, and I'll of course do it next year. Even though I watch horror all year around, I think it's just a great time to do it, and watch, to make a point to watch 31 movies in a month for horror for our Lord October. So that is it for today. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Take care.